over Atlanta and San Francisco. So here we go from Soldier Field on a chilly night. Temperature in the upper 30s and breezy per usual in Chicago. The Rams on top in the NFC West, and the Bears, if they win, will have a 3-game lead over the Vikings in the NFC Central. And Chicago to receive and back deep, Dennis Gentry, number 29, and Thomas Sanders, number 20. And for the Rams, kicking off will be Mike Lansford. The Rams having a very difficult time scoring points. The Bears as well over the past couple of weeks. But both teams with exceptional defense, big defensive plays. The special teams have been very good, generally speaking. And here we go. Lansford with a short kick, and it's Sanders from the 12. 20, 30. Lansford can't get him, but Cromwell does. Good run back as Cromwell runs him out of bounds up near the 43-yard line. Fuller now the quarterback with McMahon on the bench and Tomczak on the bench and Flutie not yet activated. Payton, of course, and Suey bothered with rib problems. Galt and Ortego, the wide receivers in Moorhead, and there are the men up front. Covert bothered by a bad arm of late, but he's in there. So the Bears out of the eye with Suey the fullback, Payton the tailback, and Moorhead in motion, and it's Payton for an 8-yard gain to the Rams' 49-yard line. Mel Owens, 58, the outside backer, making the tackle. Now the Rams defensively, 3-man front, Reed, Miller, and Doss. Jeter is hurt. Owens, Giroux leads the team in tackles. He's taking Jim Collins' spot. Eckern and Wilcher outstanding. Gray having a good year. Irvin, Johnson, and Cromwell was secondary.
Rams have had to make a change defensively because of the loss of Charlie DiGiornay, their nose tackle. They have brought in the defensive left end, Sean Miller. He's playing over the nose, number 98, and Doug Reed is starting at defensive left end, number 93.
2nd and 2, Moorhead in motion again, and Payton has the first down. And so Walter with a 7-yard pickup. Tom Thayer, 57, led the charge over the right side. As you look at Payton's figures, and he begins the night with 15,537 yards, about 3,000 more than Jimmy Brown. He is that far ahead of the man who for so long was number 1.
That is so incredible, the fact that he has exceeded Jim Brown's mark by that much. And maybe the most incredible thing to me, Al, and to anyone who's listening, this man in 12 years has not missed a game because of an injury. That's remarkable.
Looking like a replay. 8-7 and now 9 as he takes it down to the 34-yard line. Johnny Johnson and Nolan Cromwell, the two safeties, come up to stop him.
Let's take a look at it, and once again he'll be led by Matt Suey, number 26, and the Bears are going right at the middle. I spoke a moment ago about the loss of DiGiornay with a back injury and the shifting of Sean Miller back into that nose tackle spot, and that's exactly where they're going, and they're just ripping up yardage at the moment. One thing the Rams do not want to do is get behind the Bears early, because the Rams really don't play great catch-up football.
2nd and a long yard, and it's Payton again, and this time his shortest gain, but good enough for a first down as he takes it to the 31-yard line, and he is stopped by Sean Miller, number 98, the third-year man out of Utah State, and Reggie Doss.
This is Miller's third start at nose tackle, so he's not unfamiliar to it, but you better believe that Mike Ditka, who said last week we're going back to basic football on offense. We're going to run the ball straight ahead. We're going to use our strength. You better believe they're going to continue to work there as long as they can rip off the yardage.
First down. And Payton again, his 5th consecutive carry. Nice sidestep. Inside the 20, down at the 16. It has been Payton all the way.
That is so pretty. He swept around right, had the lead blockers out in front. Watch Suey. He'll go ahead and make a block on the last defensive end. And watch Thayer, 57, 62 is Sports. Payton moves it into the inside. Now that sets up the block for his offensive guards. They made fine blocks, but Payton helped set it up. And this man, at 32 years of age, 12 years in the NFL, still is the classic runner.
Last week, they were worrying about Peyton. He gained only 67 yards the entire day against Detroit, already with 40 on the drive. First and 10 from the 16. Draw to Suey to give Peyton a breather, and he takes it for 5 down to the 11. And there's a penalty marker down. Eckern making the tackle.
As they sort it out, I know this is exactly what Mike Ditka had in mind when he said, we want to go back to basic football. They struggled on offense against the Detroit Lions.
Number 57 on the offense. Still first down.
Tom Thayer holding, but they struggled last week against Detroit, and Ditka in the second half was upset with it. He said, we're going back to basic football. We're going to run it straight ahead. We're going to give up all of the fancy stuff, and we're going to just play bare football. And thus far, with the exception of that holding penalty, it has worked very well.
First and 20, 4 minutes into the game, no score. Bears at the Los Angeles 26.
Keep in mind, too, this is a strong Ram defense.
Peyton, back of Suey, breaks a tackle, then goes down. Johnson came up and couldn't make the stop, and then he finally goes down. Referee tonight, by the way, is Red Cashin.
76 100-yard games in his career. Just amazing. Take a look at him again. As we mentioned, Dickerson having a tough time back in January in the NFC title game, with Dickerson only gaining 46 yards on 17 carries. Well, Walter didn't find it too easy against the Rams either, Al. He went for 32 yards on 18 carries.
Suey straight ahead, and he takes it down to the 22-yard line, so it'll be third down and roughly 16 with 9:48 to go in the first quarter.
Basic football, you kind of wonder when Mike Ditka feels he has to get into a passing situation. Certainly, he is into one now. Or one would suspect he would be into one now. Where to go, one wide receiver with Willie Galt, the leading receiver, the former world-class sprinter out of the University of Tennessee. They rarely go to the tight end, Moorhead.
They send the rookie Barnes wide to the left, or to go wide to the right, and send Galt in motion out of the backfield. And it's complete to the 15-yard line to Ortego, who takes it to the 14, but well shy of the first down. Mark Giroux put the pressure on Fuller, forcing him to unload in a hurry. So Ortego and the Bears come up a little short, and in comes Butler, who has not missed a field goal attempt since the second week of the season. Butler last year missed 7 all year. He missed 6 in the first 2 weeks. Half-kiddingly, he said after the 4 misses against Philadelphia in week 2, I'm not going to miss another one the rest of the season. And so far, he's lived up to that promise. This one is 31 yards.
Bears using about almost 7 minutes on that drive to set up this field goal.
Flag down. The kick was good, but the penalty marker.
Bears already coming off the field, so it's fairly obviously going to be against the Rams.
There is no foul. It was blocked into the kicker. Field goal.
So that's his 13th straight. Butler with a new Bear record, breaking his own mark, which he set last season.
You can run into the kicker, but if you are blocked into the kicker, as was the case, it was the cornerback, Jerry Gray, who was pounded right into the kicker. No penalty on that. So the Bears score first, and they use up a lot of time, nearly 6.5 minutes.
Pardon me, folks. How do you like your new Ford Aerostar?
Oh, it's great.
Think you can tell me about it in less than 30 seconds?
Well, it does so many things. We take the kids to school. We go to the drive-in movie.
We tow the boat.
And the dirt bikes.
We brought the new table home.
Helped your sister move.
Took my French club to the airport.
I drove it to the prom.
The kids listened to their music in it.
I can carry the fellas to the golf course.
We took the...
Sorry, you're out of time.
I didn't get a turn.
Ford Aerostar.
Hi, Andy. Ready for the history? semifinal. Is that today?
It sure is.
Let me borrow your notes, will you?
Hope you have your term paper finished.
Wait, I've forgotten which room it's in.
Hide here, Andy. Mr. Spencer's gonna kill you.
Keeping up with schoolwork isn't easy. That's why the computer more kids learn on is Apple.
In the Army, we do more before 9 a.m. than most people do all day.
Hey, First Sergeant. Good morning.
Driving on your old antifreeze another year can be risky. Weak, neglected antifreeze can cause freeze-up and make a radiator look this bad, while the Prestone radiator looks this good. So don't push your luck changing once a year with fresh Prestone.
The Chicago Bears, thanks mainly to Walter Payton on that first drive, marched for a field goal, and back deep to receive for the Los Angeles Rams, Charles White and Ron Brown, as Butler puts it in the air, and it's a short angling kick and bounces into the hands of White at the 13. So the Rams will start deep in their own territory after a minimal run back. And again, it's Steve Dills, formerly with Minnesota, then to the Rams a couple of years ago, the journeyman out of Stanford, who gets the start. Again, Bartkowski can play. Everett is available. Dickerson and Redden with Brown. Henry Elder, of course, is back after a 3-month holdout in Hill. And the guys up front, and the longtime right guard, Dennis Hara, number 60. 1st and 10 with Redden and Dickerson behind Dills. And as you might expect, it's Dickerson for 2. 2nd and 8. Bears, 4-man front, Hampton, McMichael, the Fridge, and Dent. And then the linebackers, Wilson, and Singletary is healthy again with a groin, but he's back. And Marshall, who had a big play last week in the victory against Detroit. Richardson, Bestie Jackson takes over for Reggie Phillips at right corner. Duerson's having a great year. And then, of course, there's Spencer. 2nd and 8. And they give it to Redden just to cross him up. And Redden takes it to the 20. And, of course, Frank, for so long, they went with a 1-back set, and now a 2-back set with Redden basically the blocking back this year.
Redden, of course, a great running back in his early career, drafted 5 years ago out of Richmond, where he was a tremendous running back and probably would have done all right had they not drafted Dickerson the next year. Dickerson, of course, has been the offensive tool of this man, John Robinson, who has always had great running backs. And when he has a great running back, as he did at USC with Marcus Allen and Charles White, well, he'll run them as many times as he can. He believes in it. That's his theory. Run the football. You lose games a lot fewer that way.
Dickerson, and he's close to a first, taking it to the 24. And by the way, and we'll get it officially for you, Dickerson starting the night just 10 yards shy of eclipsing Lawrence McCutcheon's all-time Rams mark, rushing mark, any first down here.
And he's accumulated that in 4 years. Off to a tremendous start this year, ahead of the pace in 1984 that broke O.J. Simpson's one-season single record by 105 yards. But then again, he's carrying it more this year.
1st and 10, Los Angeles at the 24. Dills under some pressure, swings it to Dickerson, and Dickerson with a first down and a lot more, and finally run out by Duerson in front of the L.A. bench near midfield.
You saw the great speed of Eric Dickerson. He's a big man. He's 6'3", 218 pounds, and a couple of Bears, and they are great tackling. They are a great tackling football team. They just miscalculated the speed. Singletary, number 1, right there, totally missed his mark on sizing up Dickerson, as did Mike Richardson, and Dickerson just kicked it into another gear, and he's got about 5 of them, got it up to midfield for the first down.
1st and 10, L.A. right on the 50. 6:06 to go in a rapid first quarter. Brown in motion. And Dickerson plowing forward to the 47, stopped by Perry, and we would unofficially give him 9 yards, and that for the moment would tie him with McCutcheon for the Rams' all-time rushing mark, and little doubt in my mind he'll get it before the series is over.
Tough to get him down. Number 72, that's the refrigerator. Perry right in the middle. The man just doesn't come down easily. He is deceptively strong. He takes a lot more punishment than one could believe that he could tolerate, and still carry the football as many times as he does game after game.
2nd and 7, and Dills going deep, and Dills overthrowing Ron Brown, who had stopped. He was covered by Duerson, and Brown had stopped, and Dills is incomplete. 3rd and 7.
Dills, by the way, I think is one of the quarterbacks, along with Bartkowski, that John Robinson wants to keep in there, and actually he'll come right out and tell you he doesn't want the quarterback to lose a football game for him when he has an offensive weapon like Dickerson. And Dills made his first start 4 weeks ago against Tampa Bay for the Rams, and part of that he hadn't started since 1983 when he started 12 games for Minnesota.
3rd and 7, and that's Michael Young wide to the right.
Here they come.
And Dills going deep, but too deep. Intended for Brown, and he's world-class and an Olympic gold medalist, but not that fast.
Good read by Dills, just overthrew as Wilbur Marshall took Dills to the carpet. You'll see Marshall come and a little deal from the outside. There he is. Moves to the inside, right in Dills' face. Dills read it all right. He had Ron Brown on a deep fly. It could have been 6. He just overthrew it. You just keep trying to do that, however, and eventually you'll get one. You have to do it that way.
Dale Hatcher to kick, and Lou Barnes, the rookie from Oregon. Hatcher's had a bad year. And this is a short kick, and a fair catch is called for and made at the 12-yard line by Barnes. 35-yard punt and a penalty marker down. And the Bears very much indicating it's against the Rams as Ron Rivera, the special teams captain, gets the word.
Illegal motion, number 49 on the offense, still 4th down.
Mickey Sutton. Should be a break for the Bears. The kick taking it to the 11-yard line. Dickerson right there, and unofficially now he and McCutcheon sharing the Rams' all-time rushing mark with 9 yards on this drive. Hatcher, same type of kick, even shorter, and a fair catch is called for and made by Barnes at the 20, so the penalty costs the Rams 9 yards. 32-yard punt, and we have 5 minutes to play in the first period.
Have you ever been frustrated because the Noid ruined your pizza? The Noid loves to ruin pizza. Call Domino's Pizza. We avoid the Noid. We keep the Noid out and all this quality in. Taste the quality. Domino's Pizza delivers in less than 30 minutes.
You're about to see one of the many things this Ford Taurus can hold. It's called the road. Ford designed the Taurus wagon to handle confidently and to respond with precision. Because you should get more out of a wagon than what you put into it. This is Taurus.
Have you driven a Ford lately?
Hello, Dallas.
Well, hi, Chicago.
Sounds a little crazy, but we wanted to see if the new fiber optic phone line in the system being built by U.S. Sprint really was so incredibly quiet that you could actually hear a pin drop.
Got it? Loud and clear. That was a pin?
So call now. Find out more and save with U.S. Sprint, where every fiber optic call sounds like you're right next door.
The Miami Dolphins, Dan Marino and company are trying to turn their season around, but the Cleveland Browns are in a struggle for the top of their division. They meet next week on ABC's Monday Night Football.
I think only with a graphic like that can you truly appreciate the greatness of Peyton. As you can see, more than 3,200 yards above Jim Brown, and then there's Harris and Riggins and Simpson and Dorsett all kind of lumped in that same area. And then there's this man all by himself and still going strong.
Not to dilute it, but Jim Brown only played 9 years, and most of his seasons were 14-game seasons.
And it's Peyton adding to his mark, but only by a yard or two. And it'll be 2nd down and 8. Well, you played against Brown, and now you've seen Peyton, Frank.
I used to watch Brown. I would come off the field, and like everybody else on the offensive unit, would go back just to watch and see what he was going to do. We beat them many times. I don't think you can really compare. If I had to be pinned down to it, I would say that Jim Brown is the greatest running back I've ever seen. The fact that he put it together in 9 years says an awful lot, and in many 14-game seasons.
Peyton on 2nd and 9. Hit by Cromwell and dropped at the 23-yard line.
The difficult part of comparing it is the fact that Walter Payton, when he came up 12 years ago, for so many of these years, he played on a fairly lousy football team. And I'm talking about his offensive line. He would take tremendous poundings through those early years up until actually 3 or 4 years ago. And Mike Ditka arrived, and they started to build an offensive unit. So it is really difficult to compare backs from different times, as it is receivers. The 4 horsemen, by the way, you're interested, average 155 pounds. So how do you compare them? There really is no way.
3rd and 7 from the 23, out of the shotgun for the first time tonight. And with Gault going in motion, Fuller throwing for Gault, can't hold it. Johnny Johnson might have gotten a hand on it. It would have been a first down. Instead, the Bears are forced to kick with 3:22 to go in the period.
If he didn't get a hand on it, Johnny Johnson was very close, and the Rams, I know, like to see that, because Johnny Johnson coming back from a knee problem, arthroscopic surgery, as a matter of fact, in preseason, and he has been gradually working back into the lineup. With Johnson back there, along with Cromwell, the other safety, they are fairly solid.
Speaking of gradually working his way back, here's Ellard returning a punt for the first time since he re-signed, taking it at the 37-yard line after a fair catch. So Ellard, a great punt returner and a man who held out until last week. The fair catch and a first down for L.A. at the 37. Bears 3, Rams nothing.
Our new boss is here.
Yeah, and look what he's driving.
A Ford Bronco 2.
That tell you anything?
He's not your ordinary executive.
Right.
Or maybe he likes to be on top of all situations, like ice or snow with 4-wheel drive.
Maybe he's the rugged outdoor type.
Well, he's probably a powerful boss. This baby's got a V6.
Yeah, and he sure likes luxury. Look at that interior.
Definitely into comfort.
Excuse me, gentlemen.
He is a she.
Definitely.
Ford Bronco 2, now with new 2-wheel drive model, as well as traditional 4-wheel drive. Built fun tough.
The battle is on for control of the U.S. Senate.
Mudslinging, name-calling, dirty politics has been a good year for that. But will the voters buy it?
We hope you'll join us to find out. The 86 vote.
There they are on the Rams bench, the once and future quarterbacks. Bartkowski, injured, bad knee, could play tonight. And Everett, who will be the man down the line. The future is not now, but it's soon.
Did they want him? They gave up 2 number 1s, a 5th-round pick, an all-pro guard, and another player.
First down, Los Angeles from the 37. Bears ahead 3-0. Late stages, first quarter. And Bills going deep, and it is incomplete. Good coverage on the play as Henry Ellard was shadowed by Bestie Jackson. And so the Rams, just to mix it up a little bit tonight, Dills coming out and throwing deep on the first two series.
Perry in the middle, the refrigerator. They loved him in London. The show actually began here a year ago for Perry, working against the rookie Tom Newberry, who filled in for Kent Hill when he was traded to Houston in that trade that brought Jim Everett. And Newberry is going to see a lot of the big man, the 300-pound Perry, tonight. He plays right on his nose.
Mike Goulman is in motion. And Eric Dickerson with that little run right there just put his name in front of Lawrence McCutcheon. However, there's a penalty marker down. So McCutcheon is still in the book. Still in ink anyway. And it's offside against Chicago. And let's see if the Rams accept the penalty, which they will.
Offside, number 58 on the defense. Still second down.
Wilber Marshall. Who, me? Yep, you. So the Rams accept the penalty, and Dickerson will have to wait for one more carry at the 42-yard line. Second and 5. Goulman is in the game. That's Mike number 44, who's a wing to the right and in motion now. And it's Redden going nowhere on a play that fooled nobody. And there's a marker down. And it's against L.A.
This game really does not have a lot of promise of being terribly pretty. Both teams with great defenses and both with great runners, and something has to give when that happens. There's John Robinson again. He loves the running game.
Holding, number 66 on the offense. Still second down.
Newberry finding a way against Perry.
The rookie out of Wisconsin, Lacrosse, costing him 10 and making it second down 15.
Right in the middle once again, and number 66, Newberry, finding one way to handle the big man. Gets a good grip on him, tosses him to the side, and the Rams get the penalty.
Goulman in motion. Dickerson turns it back and gets dropped at the 31. And Wilber Marshall is there to make sure he couldn't turn it back.
There's so much of Singletary, and indeed you should. He's a great player at the middle linebacking spot, but Wilber Marshall seems to get better with each game. Here is Dickerson. If he could have got that back around the corner with his speed, he might have turned it into something major, but Singletary is there. Marshall is there. Marshall, of course, scored the only touchdown in the game last week against Detroit in that 13-7 victory. They are very opportunistic. If they get to you often enough, they're going to strip the ball, and one of these in a black jersey is going to get it into the end zone.
Eric's having a tough time getting that record, and there's another penalty marker, and that will be the record, or would have been anyway, except for the marker. And there are two of them, in fact, as he takes it out to the 36-yard line.
I think Lawrence can breathe easy one more time.
Yep.
No, this time it's going to work against Chicago, but
they'll take the penalty, though.
They will take the penalty.
So that'll negate the run.
No one said it would be easy, Art.
Offside, number 95 on the defense. Still third down.
Dent. Super Bowl MVP.
Mike Ditka now in his 5th year, handpicked by Papa Bear Hollis, who loved Mike when he played here, as he did for 6 years. I played against him in the '63 NFL Championship game, but he really set a new dimension for tight ends. He was a battling, fighting tight end, also one that in 1 year had over 70 receptions. 3rd and 10 out of the shotgun.
complete. And taking a shot on the far side was Brown, who was double teamed. Hit by Fensick. 4th down.
Well, if you watch that, you understand why they don't throw it too often. There was obvious zone coverage. We had Richardson there, and coming across was Durison, rather Gary Fensick, and taking the shot there from Fensick, but Dills had no chance to get that ball in there. Overthrows the ball and brings up the punt.
So Dills is 1 out of 5 for 26 yards. That on the swing to Dickerson. Barnes is back to receive. Hatcher to kick. Hatcher made the Pro Bowl last year, almost had that one blocked. End over end, flag down, fair catch made at the 25, and they ran into Hatcher. And it was Sean Gale and Dave Duerson who were both in there.
They came very close to getting to the ball, and however, they're going to be guilty of roughing, and that should give the Rams a first down. Take a look at it again. They almost got this. A few moments ago, they almost got to Hatcher. There it is right there, Gale, and then Duerson. Duerson played it right.
He went the kicker, number 23 on the defense. First down.
Gale took the wrong line to block the punt, and therefore he caught the kicker, draws the penalty. Duerson just about got it himself.
He was almost pushed into him. Wiltshire there to make the block. But it's a first down for the Rams at the 42-yard line. 46 seconds to play, first quarter.
And watch out McCutcheon.
Yeah, right. He's had as long a respite as McCutcheon as anybody has a right to expect. From the 42, Dills to throw again, and dropped at the 45 by Ron Brown, who was there. Pass right on the numbers, and he couldn't hold it.
Dills had that right in there. Let's take a look at it again, and keep in mind, if you are blocked into the kicker, there is no foul. And there's Sean Gale. Pushed a little bit, and then rolls into the kicker. The reason they have such a severe penalty on this, because that kicker, he is so vulnerable when he comes completely off the ground, gets the ball away. He is terribly vulnerable to a serious leg injury.
2nd and 10, after you had looked over the shoulder of McMahon, with Brown going in motion. And Dickerson just about a yard as William Perry makes the tackle. We'll see if officially they give him the one he needs, and they say no, it's no gain.
Eric having a tough start tonight against the Bear defense. Same defense, although they play a little differently under their new defensive coordinator, Vince Tobin, than they did under Buddy Ryan a year ago. They're not so helter-skelter, more disciplined. They use a lot of the 4-3, the over and the under, occasionally going back to the 4-6, but they're much more disciplined. But it was the defense that shut Eric totally out in the NFC Championship game, holding to 46 yards on 18 carries back in January, and I'm sure that he is terribly frustrated at this point. Bears on top, 3-0. We'll be back with the second quarter.
What's the power that makes the world go round? Well, when things start to run down on this planet, there's simply no better way to start them up again than by reaching for a Rayovac battery. So powerful, so dependable. And Rayovac created the Smart Pack so you'll never run out.
Asked the analyst on
the radio, there is McCutcheon, by the way, who will salute Dickerson upon Eric's new mark, which may be a while in coming, and has been. Flag down on 3rd and 10, and in and out of Dickerson's hands. But a penalty filled late first quarter, and we begin the second quarter with a flag. That's against the Rams and will probably be declined.
Illegal formation. Only 6 men on the line. Penalty is declined. 4th down.
You have to have 7. Not one of your great offensive showings in the first quarter. We did not anticipate that. If you were looking for something along the cosmetic lines in terms of offense, you're not going to get it here tonight. Neither team very pretty offensively. They are dynamite on defense. They are very opportunistic. And the numbers reflect in the first quarter just about what we thought they'd be.
Hatcher to punt again with Barnes to receive. Decent kick this time. 14-yard line, Barnes. And out to the 20.
Interesting. Hatcher a year ago was the NFC Pro Bowl kicker, was dynamite. Early part of this year, he had nothing but troubles. In the last couple of games, he started to get it back together again. And we talked to John Robinson at the meeting this morning and just kind of shook his head. And I guess you do that with kickers. Chilly night. Expected to drop into the low 30s as Eric Dickerson leans his goggles on the sidelines, frustrated thus far in this game.
Bears at the 20. With Fuller throwing, and it's complete. 4 to go. Stopped by Gray. Gain of 6. 2nd and 4. Kevin Butler knows how to stay warm on this chilly evening.
Got him a moon boot on the right foot. Again, we probably will not see Jim McMahon tonight. Very sore right shoulder, also a very sore ankle. It's been troubling him for a long time and really started to bother him over the past few weeks.
2nd and 4 from the 26-yard line. And Payton is racked up at the line of scrimmage. Number 93, Doug Reed, third-year lineman out of San Diego State.
You talk about the defense of the Bears, and of course, really when you talk about them, you're thinking of a year ago because they are 8th ranked in the NFL after 8 games, whereas the Rams were ranked number 4 in terms of yardage given up. Rams have, over the past few years, been a dynamite defensive team. When you have somebody like an Eric Dickerson, who's going to win a lot of games just on his own ability, and you have a great defense, you're going to win a lot of football games. And they're going to do that again this year.
Shotgun and the dime setup. 6 defensive backs for L.A. And the pass is still complete to the 31-yard line to Lou Barnes. And the Oregon rookie has a first down at the 40.
Real fine read, too, on the part of Fuller. The Rams coming on a blitz, getting Lou Barnes single coverage out on the outside against Irvin. And Barnes read it well, saw the blitz. There's Irvin. Almost had the tackle, but Barnes was able to spin away and get the first down out at the 40-yard line. Good read by Fuller, who, by the way, when he was with Kansas City, started a couple of years there, had a couple of big years. Traded to the Rams in '83, didn't play at all, and then traded to the Bears in '84.
1st and 10 Chicago from the 40. Payton lunges couple. Try to work in behind the block of Calvin Thomas, who's in the game with him. Tim Fox comes up from the secondary for the tackle.
Offensive linemen huddle over in the sidelines, trying to go back to the drawing board on the Bears defense. Bears have not changed that much. They come into every game with their 46. They still use a lot of blitzing, not as much as they did a year ago. The 4-3, over and under, they are pretty much predictable in what they do. They just have great personnel headed by this man who really is the spirit of that defense, Mike Singletary.
2nd and 8 and 3 flags before the inception of the play. Otherwise, it would have been Neil Anderson. Penalty against Chicago. We would have seen Neil Anderson carrying the ball. He, their number 1 draft choice out of Florida.
Ball start. Number 57 on the offense. Still 2nd down.
Tom Thayer. 2nd time he's been whistled tonight.
Talking about Fuller a moment ago, you get the feeling, I think you felt it too, Al, when you talk to these Bear players. They say they are behind him 100%, but they really believe in McMahon. McMahon changes the entire tempo of this offensive team when he's healthy, when he's in there. And even though they like to tell you that they can perform behind Fuller, you get the sense that they really do not come up to it.
And he led him to the promised land last year. 2nd down and 13 as Fuller sets up the screen for 30. Couple of blockers out in front. Walter with a juke step and a fake and out of bounds at the 47. First down, vintage Payton.
Beautifully executed screen. At there, out in front of it, number 57. Bortz was over there, number 62. Good fake by Fuller over the right side. Good blocks. Payton with that characteristic high step, gets the first down inside Ram territory near the 46-yard line.
Walter Payton. Well, it's amazing. You forget about those marks when you talk about career receptions because all you think about is rushing. So Fuller leads him up to the 46-yard line. Calvin Thomas is in the game. That's he, number 33. Moorhead goes in motion. Fuller to throw. Going deep down the left side. Overthrowing. Willie Goff. It'll be 2nd and 10. So Steve Fuller getting the start again. You know, we were looking at McMahon. One thing in McNary is Jim McMahon, at least he's a best-selling author. Did you see the New York Times nonfiction list? His book, McMahon, is number 5. Ken Stabler's book, Snake, is number 9. John Madden's new book is 11th. And on the rest of the list, you have Bill Cosby, Tina Turner, Sidney Biddle Barrows. I mean, what does Clifton Fadiman think about this?
Is he a linebacker? It is a wild list.
When are you writing your next book? 2nd down and 10 from the 46-yard line. Draw. Payton takes it to the 43. And it'll be 3rd down and 7.
Talking about McMahon's book, he actually doesn't respect a whole lot of people either. He is really a character. When they talked about signing Doug Flutie, he pouted, said he didn't think that was necessary. Mike Ditka said he didn't care whether he thought it was necessary or not. Went ahead and signed him. You get the feeling that McMahon has a lot of support around him. We talked to Dan Hampton today, and we asked him about Doug Flutie. He said, well, look at it this way. Go and get Steph. We'll put a suction cup on him, strap him on the back of Perry, and use him as a running back.
3rd and 7. Shotgun.
Fascinating team. They just keep winning.
They keep you interested. Gold running a post pattern, but Fuller's going to run with the ball and takes it to the 39, and he's going to come up 3 yards shy of the first down. The tackle by Sean Miller, number 98. That's great.
Now Ditka has opened a restaurant here in Chicago.
Yeah.
McMahon is going to open one. They don't really get along that well. I wonder if they'll invite each other to the opening. Oh, why not? When you got this kind of a defense, well, you can do a lot of things that are unusual. 4th down, it's a long 2, and they're going to go for it. He wants this kind of football. He wants the Bears to go back to it, straight ahead, rock 'em, sock 'em. Ditka believes in it, and he said that's where they were going to go.
And they come up out of the shotgun on 4th and 3 with Fuller throwing over the middle, a wobbly, incomplete pass. Ortego was the intended receiver.
Now they turn it over and they send the defense out, and I know that Mike Ditka feels very strongly in his own mind they'll get the ball back again. It'll move to the inside. Ortego. If Fuller could have waited just a fraction of a second more, he could have got it in there, but the blitz was on. He had to throw it.
And Frank Gifford at Soldier Field, Chicago. 3-0 Bears. 9:52 to play in the half. Rams ball at their own 39, and again McCutcheon needs a yard for the record. Not here either. Dickerson with Redden carrying here. No gain. So Dickerson still a yard shy of moving past McCutcheon.
I think McCutcheon could do just about as well. They have really been struggling, and Bears really were fired up coming into this game. They love to focus on a team that really is one-dimensional. The Rams, quite frankly, are that. Dickerson is their offense. They make no bones about it. That's tough to play against the Bears. They are tough against the run, and when they know that's all you're going to do, they are doubly tough.
On 2nd and 10, Dills throwing and off the hand of Henry Ellard, number 80. So Ellard, who just signed and played sparingly last week, still looking for that elusive first catch. Dills has thrown only 1 completion in 8 attempts tonight. That the 26-yard swing out to Dickerson.
Talk about the Rams and their one dimension. Well, the Bears, without McMahon, they are much the same. It goes to Walter Payton. So what you're watching are 2 superb defensive teams with a couple of great running backs trying to find an opening to make some big plays for you.
3rd and 10 with Kevin House, one of the new Rams from Tampa Bay. Wide to the right, and Dills throwing to the left, and that one is flat dropped by Ellard at the 50-yard line.
Timing has to be a little bit off. Ellard didn't sign until October the 23rd, and Dills had that right in there. That would have been a first down, should have been caught easily. Ellard, who caught 54 passes a year ago and then held out till October the 23rd, was right there, made a good pattern, took his defensive back deep. Coming across the middle, it gets very noisy. Durison particularly is back there, and a guy named Gary Fincey. They will really level you.
You can't complete those, you're in big trouble. Barnes to receive from the 15-yard line and wrapped up back at the 12. Good pursuit by Jerry Gray, having a great year at the corner for the Rams and doing good work on the special teams as well. 8:56 to play in the half. Still 3-0 Chicago. 56 to play in the first half. Soldier Field. The Bears took the opening kickoff, and Walter Payton marched them down the field, and Butler kicked the field goal, and that's been the story.
You just got here, you haven't missed much. But with Payton, Dickerson, if you go away for a moment, you could miss something really brilliant.
1st and 10. Bears from the 13-yard line. Payton, gain of 2. 2nd and 8. Reggie Doss makes the stop.
And Richard Dent, he had a little run-in with Ditka this past week. He was not feeling well, went to see the doctor, didn't come back to practice. Didn't tell Mike Ditka he was leaving, and he brought down the wrath of the big man. Mike Ditka, one thing about him, you know where you stand. And I wouldn't want to stand in front of him.
2nd and 8 from the 15. That's Reitman in the slot. And straight ahead goes number 35, Neil Anderson, the rookie out of Florida. And I guess someday he may be the man who will see Payton. You never know.
Well, he may follow him, but they are going to be some very big shoes to fill. Anderson, of course, number 1 draft pick by the Bears. Had over 3,200 career yards for Florida. Good all-around player, too. Had 25, 26 receptions as a senior. They think an awful lot of him.
Third down at about 1.5 yards. And it's Payton trying to get that 1.5 yards and very close to it. Greg Meisner came in, and he'll get credit for the initial hit, and Red Cashin wants to take a look at the chains.
Walter knew what he had to get, and he gave it that little extra effort. He'll be very close. Walter has a whole lot of records. His entry in the NFL record book right now looks like a catalog, but he has a lot more to come. And he knew what he had to get, and he got it. One of them is that he has 103 rushing touchdowns as we watch him again. That trails Jim Brown at 106. There it is. He knew just exactly what he had to get. Great running backs. They don't have to even look over there. They know exactly where they are, what they need. And he was able to squeeze it out. He's amazingly strong, Payton is, at 200 pounds.
Right now, Payton has Calvin Thomas in at fullback. That's Tim Reitman going in motion. They fake to Payton, and then Fuller throws and underthrows it out at the 37 for Ortego.
Fuller knew he had him. Ortego had got himself into a good position, forced Jerry Gray back with a little fly maneuver and turned in, and he just didn't get it there. Our ABC Sports exclusive is being brought to you by Chrysler Motors and its automotive divisions, working together to be the best.
7:02 to play, first half, 3-0 Chicago. No matter what happens tonight, each team will remain atop its respective division. The Bears would lead by 3. The Rams would lead by 1.5 games with a victory. 2nd and 10. Draw, and this is Calvin Thomas, and he is wrapped up. Meisner and Mark Giroux converge for the stop.
And we've talked about it throughout the first quarter and a half. Two great defensive teams on the field tonight. And like I said, if you're looking for a lot of wide open football, you're not going to get it here. What you get is a lot of hard hitting. You have some great names out there. Outside of Peyton and Dickerson, some of the most familiar names in the world of pro football today are down on that Bears defensive team. Hampton, Singletary, Dent, Fincy, Bell.
On 3rd and 10, Fuller throws over the middle and finds the receiver at the 41, Ortego, in amongst 4 Rams.
A wild ovation for a completion. Ortego started first against Minnesota. And in that game, he caught 6 for 157 yards, and they really had themselves a find. And he gets the first down, timed it out to about the 42-yard line, and they are working on an injured Los Angeles Ram, and that's linebacker Mike Wilcher, who is down, and they are looking at his right leg. We'll be back at Soldier Field.
As the Bears have it at their own 41, 5:51 to play in the first half, 3-0 Chicago. And Calvin Thomas in the backfield with Peyton. And with Ortego in motion, Peyton looking to throw. And Walter going deep downfield, trying to hit Gault and batted away. The pass floating, and Vince Newsom was back there to defend.
They don't give up much on Walter. He loves to throw the football, and he throws it many times over the course of a season. Let's watch it again. He makes it look good. They pull the 2 guards, Bort 62, Thayer 57. And he flattens it out a little bit early, and right back there in on the coverage was Vince Newsom. He read it all the way. Peyton loves to throw the football, and you might recall last week, Eric Dickerson completed his first NFL pass. He had a touchdown shot for the Rams.
Hit the tight end, David Hill.
Running backs love to throw the ball.
Wilcher is back in. 2nd and 10. Fuller complete and a first down. Lou Barnes making his mark. That's his 2nd catch tonight, and he caught only 2 all season coming in. Those were his figures coming in tonight, and 2 catches in the game here.
Fuller with a lot of protection. The Rams bringing the outside linebacker. That was Wilcher back into the lineup. Getting it out to Barnes, and Barnes for the first down to the 45-yard line. Good move by Barnes. He bought the respect of the cornerback and gave Fuller ample room to get it in there.
1st and 10, Chicago at the Ram 45. Peyton, nothing. -1. Wilcher and Leroy Irvin coming up. 2nd and 11. The happy defense.
Interesting as you look at Singletary on the sidelines. Really, they're household names, these Bears, who, of course, won the Super Bowl 46-10 over New England, swept through the playoffs, wiping out the Rams 24-0. Meanwhile, the Rams actually, statistically, have played better defense thus far this season. But some of the names new to a lot of people who don't follow this game very closely.
2nd and 11 from the 46-yard line. Screen, but incomplete. Calvin Thomas was there, but the pass wasn't. 3rd down. Fuller started his career with Kansas City, you might recall. And then he did spend 1 season as a Ram, 83, but never threw a pass that year.
Interesting, if you were with us at the very beginning of this game, the Bears came out, marched right down the field. It looked like they were going to make it ever so easy. They were ripping off 5-6 yards a pop with Walter Payton. All of a sudden now they are really struggling against a tough Ram defense that is not doing anything differently. They stay in their 3-4. They blitz on the obvious 3rd and long, 2nd and long, and that's about it. They're just strong personnel-wise. Here comes the blitz.
3rd and 11. Fuller scrambling and hit hard at the 40-yard line and short of the first down by 5. Kevin Green, the extra backer in there to make the play, number 91.
And the Rams shut the Bears off again, but bring out the 4th down, keep them out of field goal range.
I'm thinking, Frank, that one of the big stories in terms of what Chicago's doing to the Rams is we've been sitting here now for about 45 minutes talking about Dickerson breaking McCutcheon's record, and he still hasn't done it.
He got 10 going in, he still needs 1, right?
He got 9, lost a yard, gained a yard back, and he's still stuck on 9. And we're down to 3:55 to go in the half. Maury Buford short hops the snap and then angles his kick, and it goes out of bounds, and they'll mark it, but it will pin the Rams deep. Not as deep as the crowd would like, but the 13 is where they'll put it.
The cheers turning to boos as the official walked up the sideline. And they mark it out there somewhere around the 13-yard line. We'll be back.
You know, Al Michaels, Frank Gifford, Soldier Field in Chicago.
That'd be a best of.
Go ahead, Pop. Yeah, right.
Interesting as we go into the final minutes here in the first half. John Robinson said, if we can be close in the 4th quarter, that's how you have to play the Bears. As we look at John, we want to stay close by the 4th quarter, and we'll be right in this football game. He said if they get 4 or 5 sacks on us in the first half, get ready to roll a movie.
And here's Dickerson, and he finally has the record as he takes it out to the 25-yard line and stopped by Fensick. So Lawrence McCutcheon, and there he is.
He grew old watching.
Yeah, he did. He had that. He had a share of that record a lot longer than he ever anticipated. Nice way to break it here. Good run.
Rip over the left side behind Jim Covert, who's been, or rather the left tackle on the left side, Pankey, who's been hurting a little bit.
From the 25, that's Kuhlman in motion. And Dickerson trying to add more yards to his Ram mark, and he picks up about 3 to the 28, and it's Fensick again making the stop. 2:55 to go in the half, and looking ahead, the Rams, as do the Bears, have all of their timeouts remaining.
I guess you could say, even though we're still in the first half, that Robinson is rapidly approaching a couple of his goals, and that is not to get his quarterback sacked 4 or 5 times. And he did say that. If that happens, he said, get ready to run an old movie because we'll be out of it. And he did want to be close going into the 4th quarter.
2nd and 7, and it's Dickerson back of Redden. Cuts it back inside to the 34. Mike Richardson in on the tackle.
The thing about Eric Dickerson, and frankly, unlike Walter Payton, Dickerson, if he ever turns the corner on you, he can be gone. He has that 9.3 speed, really world-class speed, where Walter he'll batter you, he'll beat you up, he'll run. But up the outside, his long runs will be 20, 25, 40 yards. Dickerson, he can take it from anywhere on the field. He is that kind of a weapon.
2-minute warning at Soldier Field in Chicago. This one pretty much according to pregame form. 3-0 Bears. And all of their quarterbacks, and there it is over the past 10 years. Namath and Hayden, Ferragamo, Rutledge, Pastorini, Burt Jones, Jeff Kemp, Dieter Brock, Barkowski, and Dills, and that doesn't even include Everett, who is the future starter. Meanwhile, 3rd and 2 from the 33, and Dickerson has the first down. And out of bounds, stopping the clock at the 42 with 1:54.
Rams have always been in some sort of a quarterback mess, as I'm sure you're aware. Al, going back to Waterfield. Van Brockman, when they came from Cleveland to the Los Angeles area. Then later it was Wade and it was Bookich. They have never really settled on one, even though they finally alternated Van Brockman and Waterfield, and they both had great careers.
The Rams and the Bears have had a lot of quarterbacks who played for both teams as well. Bukic and Wade, and even Fuller, as I mentioned tonight, and jumping offside, Jackie Slater, number 78. You know, it's funny, though, Frank, with all of the Ram quarterbacks, the Bears have had 7...
start, number 78 on the offense, still first down.
The Bears have had 7 different quarterbacks start in the last 4 years for Chicago. I mean, who would have figured that Chicago, a Super Bowl team and a team that had a great '84 season. It's been Fuller, Vince Evans, Mike Tomczak, Bob Avellini, Rusty Litch, Greg Landry, and of course Jim McMahon since '83. There it is.
Until about 4 years ago, it wasn't safe to be a quarterback here.
And that doesn't even include Flutie, who is still not active. And they have until 3 o'clock tomorrow to activate him. On 1st and 15. Bills deep for Ellard. And he drops the ball at the 15-yard line. Mike Richardson was there.
That's 2 now for Ellard. I don't know whether Richardson got a hand in there and stripped it or not. Ellard had that ball. And it was a good effort by Dills even to get it off. There was a look inside by Ellard, and that got Richardson. He bought it all the way. Or rather, the man playing short, and that would have been Durson. Hit him right in the stomach, and it could have been the Richardson got his hand in there and stripped it. We'll see it on the reverse angle. And that's why this camera is invaluable. It really is. He did. He got a hand on it.
Barely.
Good play by Richardson.
2nd and 15 from the 37. And it's Dickerson, big hole through the middle. Takes it out to the 48. And it will be 3rd down and 4. And the Rams use their first timeout. So that stops it with 1:36 to play in the half. So Dills going over to discuss things with Robinson and the gang. And we can tell you about the Miami Dolphins because we're going to be watching them next week. And yesterday, Miami winning its 2nd straight, taking on Houston at the Orange Bowl. They were leading 7-0, and Marino's stats not that impressive, 12 of 29. However, look at touchdowns, a total of 4, and they came in rapid-fire order. 7-0 in the 2nd quarter, and at the Oilers' 38-yard line, Marino hitting Nat Moore over the middle, and Miami went on top by a score of 14-0. And they led 21-0 at the half. In the 3rd quarter, it was Duper taking the pass and outrunning everybody else. Escorted into the end zone as Miami rolled to a 28-7 victory. And so the Dolphins, 4-5, take on Cleveland next week, and will be at Cleveland Stadium, where the Browns and the Bengals are tied for first place in the AFC Central, 9 Eastern time.
And I guess if it wasn't for the 8-1 Jets, the Miami Dolphins wouldn't be considered all that sick in the AFC Eastern Division. We'll get a look at him next Monday night against Cleveland.
3rd and 4. Dills, who's 1 for 10, is 1 for 11. He throws that into the back of Vesti Jackson. Eller, the intended receiver, and Jackson never looked back, but he'll get credit for a pass defense, is what the statistic will read.
This time the Bears were bringing everyone, and good protection on the part of the Rams offensive line and their back stepping up there, and Dills finds the open man and hits him right in the back. Vesti Jackson.
Hatcher to kick. Barnes from the 9. And back he comes to the 11-yard line. And the Bears, with all of their timeouts, start from the 11-yard line with 1:21 to play in the half. Coming up, a couple of matchups for you. Many of you will see Miami, #1 in the country, and that means Vinny Testaverde, of course, taking on the Pitt Panthers. Others will take a look at the Cincinnati Bearcats visiting 9th-ranked Auburn. CFA college football with coverage beginning at 3 o'clock Eastern time this Saturday.
Interesting, Vinny Testaverde, the quarterback for Miami, is just about the same size as Jim Everett, the Rams quarterback from Purdue that they acquired from Houston. They're both 6'5", and that looks to be what the pro teams are looking for in quarterbacks these days.
Fuller from the 11 throws over the middle and incomplete. As Emery Moorhead was sandwiched, and had Carl Eckern looked around, he might have been able to pick it off. Mark Giroux was also there.
Wild game in Washington yesterday. Redskins in Minnesota. We'll take a look at that at halftime. Boy, that was close to the interception. Giroux, who has filled in so well for the injured Jim Collins, had his sights on it, just couldn't handle it.
2nd and 10. Shotgun from the 11. fake and then a throw, and out of bounds to stop the clock is Emory Moorhead at the 15-yard line. That stops the clock with 1:10. And it will make it 3rd down and 6.
Kind of surprised that Mike Ditka is putting the ball up in the air deep in their own territory. Started at their 11-yard line. Came out on this series throwing the football. And it does tell you the confidence he has in his quarterback, Steve Fuller.
Bolt wide left, Ortego, and Moorhead to the right. The fake throw to Suey, and then over the middle, Moorhead is wide open. Well, it's been that kind of night, really, for both quarterbacks.
It was behind Moorhead, but I'm sure that Moorhead would be the first one to tell you he should have had it. And it would have been a 1st down out over the 30-yard line. Again, good protection for Fuller. Steps up, wide open. He read it all the way across. Put it behind Moorhead a little bit. But it's one he should have had.
A good drive tonight has been sacrilegious. 1:05 when the Rams get the ball back. They have 2 timeouts remaining. Good kick and a fair catch, and it's dropped by Ellard. And Ellard pouncing on it at the 42-yard line with a bunch of Bears, and we'll wait for the call.
Bears are indicating that they have it, and the ball was loose when the bodies began to pile up.
Remember, Ellard held out for 3 months. He's a great punt returner, but he didn't return a punt last week. Chicago has it. And what a night it's been for Ellard, who's dropped a couple of passes that he definitely should have had. Another he probably should have had. And now he's given the Bears the ball in Rams territory.
Here it is again. He tried to go with the fair catch, gave the signal, looked it in, then tried to cover it as he should, and it just got loose. And coming out of the pile with it, Dan Raines, and now the Bears have the 1st down inside the 43-yard line, and they have 52 seconds.
And all of their timeouts. Three-0 Chicago. Fuller from the shotgun. Screen, Payton inside the 40 and out of bounds at the 28-yard line.
Good call. The Rams were bringing 3 linemen. They dropped everyone deep into the pattern. Payton moved over behind Thayer and Bortz and kept it on the sidelines. Did not try to bring it back over the middle. He wanted to also stop the clock after he got the 1st down. There it is. 57 is Thayer out in front. Gets a good block. And Payton reads the block beautifully and takes it down to the 28-yard line for a Bear 1st down.
1st and 10 Chicago at the Los Angeles 28. 44 seconds to play in the half. Inside give Payton. Wrapped up. Nice defensive play. Number 91 is Kevin Green. And there's a penalty marker.
Ball down by Kevin Green.
And the initial indication, Chicago.
Illegal motion against the Bears.
Tell you one thing, Frank, after this 1st half, the Rams may want to reopen negotiations with Ellard again.
Illegal motion, number 62 on the offense. That penalty is declined. It's 2nd down.
There's Ellard. Disastrous 1st half for him. He was working out. He apparently reported in decent shape. He lives in Fresno and was working out with Kevin Sweeney, the great quarterback at Fresno State.
Had a super year a year ago returning punts, 3 touchdowns, has led the NFC 3 consecutive years on punt returns. But put the Rams in a bit of a hole here with 39 seconds remaining. Rams, by the way, choose to decline that penalty after the 5-yard loss.
2nd and 15, and it's Payton again, looking to throw, opting to run, taking it to the 31-yard line.
Again, Payton was trying to go upfield to Lou Barnes. He was covered by Leroy Irvin, who did not even consider, once he saw Barnes come off the line of scrimmage, that Peyton was going to run the football. He played it pass all the way, therefore Peyton had to pull it down and try to make something out of what was a mess over on the right side. Mike Ditka having a little word with Fuller. Inside handoff. Barnes now is streaking down the left sideline. Peyton looks over there. Irvin is right with him. And just makes a little bit out of a mess, as I said. When it collapses on that option, it really collapses quickly. Bears use a timeout. They're down to 29 seconds, and it'll be 3rd and long again. And look at Mike Ditka, as I mentioned earlier, is a typical Bear. He was the choice of the late Papa Bear Alice, but this is the man. Even though they have had their words, they seem to respect each other for their abilities. This is the man that he needs, Jim McMahon, in there. The Bears believe so much in McMahon, not only offensively, but they believe defensively. And you can almost watch this team change gears when McMahon is healthy and available and ready to play. Right now, the right shoulder is sore. He tried to throw on Saturday and it hurt him. There was strong consideration as to whether or not they put him on injured reserve today and let him rest for 4 weeks. They have a commanding lead in the Central Division, and they surely want him for playoffs.
3rd down and 12. Fuller going deep, and a wobbly duck is intercepted in the end zone, and he'll keep it in there. Nolan Cromwell keeps it in the end zone. And thus the Bears with a golden chance, and they squander that on a terrible pass by Fuller.
Fuller knows that he gave up another 3 points, and certainly a 3-point opportunity to Kevin Butler. It would have been about a 46 or 47-yard attempt, and Butler is good from there. And you can't blame Ditka for chomping a little bit on Fuller. That was one he threw into double coverage. He hit Cromwell right in the chest.
But how do you really feel, Mike?
Oh, he'll tell him too. But then it's over. That's one thing about Mike Ditka. He doesn't carry it for any length of time. He might trade you to Saskatchewan. Nolan Cromwell comes down with the interception, his 3rd of the year, his 33rd career interception.
Just because Ditka's looking at the official airline guide right now shouldn't mean anything.
And it will be tourists.
1st down from the 20. Dickerson to the 25. Nolan Cromwell, a long-time one, 10th year out of Kansas.
Former decathlete at Kansas, great athlete, and has been a superior safety man in this league for many years, and he takes the interception, keeps the Bears from the possible field goal. Thanks once again to quarterback Steve Fuller.
Bears were favored by 8 to 9 points. But the fact it's a low-scoring game is absolutely no surprise.
And it's a tough football game, Mick. No doubt about that. They have been really hammering out there. Peter Fridge has been getting his share of stops in the middle.
Lansford kicking off, taken at the 9-yard line. Thomas Sanders to the 19. So the Rams at least were able to get on the board against the Bears. They were shut out last year in the NFC Championship game and shut out in the first half. And the crowd is booing Ditka's decision to send Fuller back in. I think the crowd would like to see Flutie activated tonight.
The Chicago Bear crowd could overrun your position. They're about as wild as your football team. A lot of tradition behind these Bears. It's one of the oldest, second oldest of the NFL franchises.
First down from the 19-yard line. And Peyton moves out past the 25. Picks up 7. Reggie Doss and Mark Giroux in on the tackle.
Still amazes me in all the years, all the games that have gone down over the 12 years of Walter Payton that he's never missed one because of an injury. It's so remarkable for a running back. Always there, never complaining, never griping. He's always playing hurt. He's playing hurt tonight. He's got a very bad bruise of his right calf. Did not work out hardly this week.
2nd and 3, and it's Peyton for the first down to the 34-yard line. 1st and 10. Johnny Johnson makes a stop. Flutie has to be activated by 3 o'clock tomorrow. Otherwise, he's available. But you can count on Doug being activated.
The other thing that Dan Hampton mentioned about Flutie, and there has been a lot of controversy as to their signing Flutie here. A lot of the team did not like it. He said, Flutie, his trophy is bigger than he is. Bears will talk it over with you.
With Reitman in motion, that's incomplete, intended for Orr to go.
Well, we'll get the booze now.
Second and 10.
Eddie Hughes, right there in front of Mike Ditka, is the offensive coordinator. Former teammate of mine with the Giants. Later worked for so many years under Tom Landry, as, of course, did Mike Ditka. Ditka playing and working under Tom Landry at the Dallas Cowboys before coming to the Bears 5 years ago.
Second and 10, Chicago at the 34-yard line. Peyton. He's wrapped up on the play. Nice job done by Mel Owens to ward off a block and make the tackle. And there he is, the outside backer. Good one in his 6th year out of Michigan. The Ram defense has to get a lot of credit, and it's a funny sort of defense in the sense that Chicago is a great defense with a lot of big names. The Rams have a whole bunch of people, no real big stars, but just a whole bunch of functional guys who know what they're doing, and right now they are the reason the Rams are 6-2.
And playing a little hurt tonight. Charlie DeJournay, the nose tackle, missing on the injured reserve with a back injury. Sean Miller has made his 3rd start tonight at nose tackle. Doug Reed has replaced Miller at left end. They're playing well.
On 3rd and 11, the pass to Peyton. And he takes it out to the 39, but they'll have to kick. It'll be 4th and 5, and it's Mike Wilcher in on the tackle.
I don't know if you were watching this morning, Good Morning America, how Dave Hartman returned from Africa, brought some incredible footage with him. It's going to continue all week. I, for one, will be watching that tomorrow morning. He had an unbelievable experience over there.
Did he find any quarterbacks?
Looking for kickers.
Fake. Buford drops the football, and another big break for the Rams as it's picked up by Leroy Irvin, and he goes in for the touchdown. Jim Laughlin was the man who came in and jarred it loose, and then Irvin goes in for the score. And so an interception by Gray and then misplay, and all of a sudden the Rams have stilled the sellout crowd at Soldier Field.
And typical of these teams, it's the defense that does the scoring. Let's take a look at it again. Buford is back. Ball is whipped back by Larry Rubens, and Buford, looking for something to do with it, is hit by Jim Laughlin. The ball bounds loose. Irvin is there into the end zone, and all of a sudden we have a new leader.
And Lansford to attempt the extra point. And the Rams, who last week scored 1 touchdown on an interception return and the other on a halfback pass, get yet another this week on a fumble return. 2nd touchdown this season for that man. 10-3 Rams.
Irvin has turned into a very good cornerback. Rubens with the snap is a little offline. Buford thought it was going to be blocked had he tried to kick it by Irvin, tried to make something out of it. Lofton strips the football. Irvin is there, takes it into the end zone, and the Rams are out in front now, 10-3. And this is the kind of game we thought it would be. Don't go away.
Harry Mitchell has been set up as the perfect target.
They got an airtight case against me. It's my gun.
They're ruthless.
You pay us $105 grand a year for the rest of your life. No!
But what they didn't plan on was Mitch having a plan of his own. From Elmore Leonard's gripping bestseller, Roy Scheider, and Margaret, in John Frankenheimer's 52 pickup, rated R. Starts Friday, November 7th at theaters everywhere.
All across America, companies are declaring liberty for all. A revolutionary idea from Liberty Mutual Insurance, where employees can now save on all their auto, home, and life insurance through the convenience of payroll deductions. Liberty for all. It's freedom from bills and paperwork, and it can save you money.
All over the country, people are learning about the new Nissan 200SX. They're examining the many important design changes on the outside. But more, they're experiencing the one important change on the inside. The new fuel-injected overhead cam V6. It's America's new super car, and it's just waiting to change your attitude. The quality and power is 200SX. The name is Nissan.
First one was a big one.
A real big one. 10-3 Rams. Lansford to kick off. And it's Gentry from the 1. 20. 30.
Look out. It's only Gray.
Nice move on Gray, and then the angle, and they get him at the 15-yard line. And the touchdown was saved by Mel Owens.
He did it against the Browns earlier in the year, and he almost took it all the way, and all of a sudden the Bears crowd that were booing their favorites are on their feet cheering Dennis Gentry. What a great return, a good move to get through the traffic. He got the blocking, but he set it up very well. Playing with a very sore foot. Gentry down the sidelines. There was only one man could save it. That was Jerry Gray, who turned it back inside, and then the pursuit finally gets Gentry at the 15-yard line.
And now the crowd has another thing to cheer about as Mike Tomczak takes over at quarterback. And the crowd has just spotted that at the 15-yard line, 1st and 10. And he gives the ball to Thomas Sanders. And he takes it to the 10-yard line. 2nd down.
This is the 3rd start for Tomczak. He started the 2nd and 3rd games of the year against Philadelphia and Green Bay. Is a little over 52% on his completions with no touchdowns and 3 interceptions, and they are looking at the right leg of Walter Payton.
And that's why he is out of the game, and that was the injury that kept him limited in practice time this week. Against Sanders, the tailback. Behind Suey. Sanders in for the touchdown.
That's all we needed. Tomczak to Sanders. What a return of a punt or a kick will do to a football team. It just lifts the emotions. You saw it there a moment ago, and this Bear team, make no mistake about it, is a very emotional team. They're really charged up at the moment, and they just blew the Rams defense out of there in the last 2 runs, not just the touchdown run.
Butler trying to tie it. Fuller back in the game to hold. And so the special teams have caused the explosion at Soldier Field with 5:46 to play in the 3rd.
Big haul for Sanders. Working over the left side with Ports and Hilgenberg at center. Hobart with a good block. Sanders takes it in easily. We've got a tied football game at 10.
We're your type.
10-10 tie as Butler kicks off, and again it's a short kick, and that one goes out of bounds, as did his kick to start the 2nd half.
And one earlier almost went out of bounds. He doesn't like it. Leaving it over to the right. Trying to hook it deep. I think what they're trying to do, and I think what Kevin Butler is trying to do and has been told to do, keep it away from Ron Brown if you can. Ron Brown makes a habit of returning kickoffs for touchdowns. Right now, Payton is up on his feet. They were looking at his right toe, and the word we received from the bench is they did not know whether he would be returning or not.
Looks like he's ready. Meanwhile, Brown and White to receive again. And they have moved up to the 15-yard line.
You remember Ron Brown and his speed from the '84 Olympics, Al. I'm sure of that.
Gold medal in the 4x100 relay and finished 4th in the 100-meter final. And here he is from the 11 to the 20, 30, and to the 35-yard line. From there, the Rams begin this drive. 5:29 to play in the third period. Coming up Saturday, a pair of games for you. Most of you will see Miami, top-ranked, against Pittsburgh, or Cincinnati taking on 9th-ranked Auburn. The other game, check your local listings. CFA football at 3 Eastern time. Coverage commencing on Saturday. 1st and 10, Los Angeles at the 35. Dickerson behind Redden. Out of bounds after a gain of 4. Mike Richardson will get credit for the tackle.
But again, the Bears do what they want to do, and that is stretch it out. And Dickerson is really dangerous, and he does it as good as anyone in the league, and that is when he cuts back against the grain. And when he does that, he can pop for big ones.
We'll be in Cleveland next Monday.
Marino and Bernie Kosar.
Yep.
A couple of young quarterbacks, one of them already rewriting the record book, and another one has a good shot at it down the line.
2nd and 7 from the 38-yard line. Redden, minimal gain. It'll be 3rd down and 5. 5:15 to play. Third quarter.
That's called give Dickerson a little bit of a breather and let's make sure that they're at least thinking halfway honestly, and they're not going to be totally in pursuit.
Steve Dills is 1 out of 12. That one was the little swing on his first throw of the night, which Dickerson took for 26 yards. And that's been that. He's had a few drop, and he's misfired on several others. That one is there, but picked off at the 42 by Fensick. And the Bears have it in Rams territory at the 35. And that ties the Chicago record. Richie Pettone and Gary Fensick, each with 37 career interceptions.
And Dills should have been 1 for 13 because Fensick was in double coverage. It was so obvious. Dills was looking at it all the way. Still had time to pick an alternate receiver, trying to get it to Michael Young. Threw it into the crowd. Fensick comes away with it. And it could have been just as easily as not Sean Gale who picked it off. But the Bears get the turnover. They're inside the Rams' 35-yard line.
And Payton is still not back in the game. Tom Zach, the quarterback. From the 35. And the man taking over for Payton is Sanders inside the 20. And Sanders is in there.
3 carries, 2 touchdowns. Sanders had a 75-yard touchdown run against Cincinnati. He just got tremendous blocking out in front of him and then put the speed on down the sidelines, but the execution was at the line of scrimmage. Thayer was out there. Van Horn got a good block back, and the Bears have the lead again.
If you didn't know better, you'd swear it was Payton in somebody else's uniform. Butler with Fuller holding. High snap, but he gets it down. And the kick is good.
Well, the snappers on the punting and field goal unit for the Bears are putting a thrill back in it. Here it is again. Both guards coming, Ports and Thayer. And Van Horn over the right side with a good block back. Springs Sanders down the sidelines, and he just uses his quickness to take it in for the touchdown. The Bears are on top 17-10.
The beauty of Zenith's
third period as Butler kicks off for the Bears. 4:23 left in the third.
And 3 3-0 Bears going into this third quarter.
Brown backs up from the 1 to the 20. First and 10 Rams. Neil Anderson, the running back in on special teams, makes the tackle.
Word is on Walter Payton that he has gone into the locker room. They will x-ray his right foot, looking at the right toe, right big toe. And you might be able to play in the middle of the line, or some parts of football. You think immediately of an offensive lineman, but if you're a running back and you're cutting and twisting and turning, you need that right big toe.
First and 10 LA from the 21-yard line. Dickerson, gain of 5. Otis Wilson, who's been pretty quiet tonight in terms of getting a call, in on that play.
Our telecast tonight presented by authority of the National Football League. It's intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of the telecast without the express written consent of the National Football League is prohibited.
Second and 6 from the 25. Eric again for a first down, and a flag is down as he bulls over Marshall. Red Cashin says holding, Rams.
Oh, that's smart. They had the first down, and it just takes the momentum away and the emotion.
John Robinson.
Holding, number 60 on the offense. Still second down.
Dennis Harrah, you'll see it over the right side. Great blocking guard. Don't think there's any question as he almost strangles McMichael. Well, look at it this way. He did make a big hole.
Second and 16. Kevin House is in the game, and they split him to the left. And Dills looks to the right and throws a bad pass for Ellard. And a fight breaks out. Perry and Dennis Harrah. I'd pay to see that, baby.
Perry about 315 and Harrah about 265. Football players seldom hurt each other.
Unnecessary roughness, number 72.
And only Perry gets penalized.
Well, they usually see the second man who gets into it. They seldom see the first one. And Perry is explaining exactly what was going on the part of Dennis Harrah. He will get no sympathy. Now he's telling Gary Fensick, who's trying to quiet him down. That was a big turnaround penalty because the Rams had their own holding penalty, and that just totally nullified that, and the Bears had them deep in their own territory.
Big penalty because it gives LA a first down at the 30. 3:03 to go in the period. It's Grumman in motion, and Redden carrying the ball, and Perry makes the tackle.
Maybe John Robinson is working on the clock. Now, you recall, he said, we want to be close as we go into the fourth quarter.
He was more than close. He had a 7-point lead. But now it's Chicago by 7.
He does believe that, too, about his team. He feels they do get better. He feels that his great running back, Eric Dickerson, gets better the more times he carries the football and the longer the game goes on.
Second and 6. Dickerson wrapped up at the 34-yard line, and again it's Perry.
They should have left Perry alone.
You betcha.
Somebody opened the refrigerator's door and the light came on. He's something. He comes right from the middle of the line. He's lined up over Newberry, gets away from Newberry, just hammers Doug Smith, the center, in the face and gets out and makes the stop. That's what they expect he's going to be doing consistently when he grows up. He's a great athlete, as big as he is. He's so quick, can stuff a basketball. Just an amazing young man.
Third and 6 from the 35. Bears lead by 7. Blitz going deep. Pass is there. Brown. And he sprints in for the touchdown as the Bears paid the price.
What we said earlier, when Dills missed him in the first quarter against the Bears, you just have to keep trying to do it. You're going to get sacked. You're going to get your quarterback maybe beat up a little bit, but sooner or later, if you can stay with it and catch him in the right defense, get the isolation, get the speed individually lined up, and you make the connection, you get a quick 6 points, and that's exactly what they did. They were dealing up front. They were bringing the outside linebacker on the left. Dills read it all the way, got the single coverage. It was Gale trying to run with Ron Brown, the Olympic gold medalist in the 4x100. Forget it, no chance whatsoever. Dills had that earlier in the game and just overthrew it.
Longest play from scrimmage for the Rams this season. 65-yard touchdown, Lansford for the extra point. Dills holding. And we are even with 1:28 to go in a wild third quarter.
I wonder if that's close, as John Robinson would put it.
So the Rams in Chicago. It was 3-0 Bears at the half. And a couple of key turnovers and big plays here in the third period, and it's 17-17.
You saw Durison. He was on the blitz. That gave the coverage to Ron Brown individually on Gale. And he tried to get some help back there, but I'm sure he was single covered. And it was a good read by Dills, but also credit that offensive line. Dennis Harrod, Jackie Slater over the right side. They had to make the key blocks to give the right-handed Dills the opportunity to get it off. That's what the Bears count on, getting the pressure, getting to you before you can get to the deep man.
The Rams this season in their 8 prior games had scored a grand total of 19 points in the third period. And tonight, they've almost matched that figure. 17. Dills, he's completed his first pass and his last pass.
That's remarkable, isn't it? 2 of 15. And he has the Rams tied at 17. 2 great defenses, a couple of fine running backs, and all of a sudden, we get the big bomb from the unlikely quarterback Steve Dills to a very likely speedy Ron Brown.
So Soldier Field is quiet again.
You called his 4x100 at the Coliseum, if I remember right. Well, in '84 in the Olympics, Ron Brown.
And of course, he was overshadowed because everybody was overshadowed amongst the sprinters because of Carl Lewis.
He's really never had a training camp. He was in the Olympics in '84, and he was injured much of last season, and this was his first year in training camp, and he did not play that much at Arizona State.
And he played a lot of defensive back there. Well, from the 9, it's Dennis Gentry to the 28-yard line. So he was a defensive back for a good part of his college career, and as you say, no training camp action until this year. And Dills read it right and hit him. And now Tomczak leading the Bears out again with Payton getting x-rayed. And Sanders, by the way, this season has carried the ball 9 times and scored 4 touchdowns. And that ain't a bad batting average, folks.
Certainly right up there with a good average.
Sanders and Thomas are the running backs on first down from the 28-yard line, and Tomczak under pressure throws a screen, and it's dropped at the 22. Well, Sanders isn't perfect.
That's the play the Bears have been using so successfully tonight to Walter Payton. But again, Payton is in the locker room, x-rays on his right big toe. Tomczak looking over to the bench where he is getting the plays signaled in by offensive coordinator Eddie Hughes, who works in concert with Mike Ditka, calling the plays for the Bears.
2nd and 10, Chicago at the 28. Calvin Thomas gets 5 to the 33. 3rd and 5.
Tomczak wasn't drafted The Bears got him as a free agent as Thomas moves out of the lineup. But earlier this year, when McMahon was hurt for the first time, it was Tomczak that Mike Ditka elected to start in his place. He made the start against the Eagles, also against the Green Bay Packers. Bears won both of those games. Not too much of it credited, however, to Tomczak.
In the Green Bay game, in fact, it was Fuller who came on to bail him out. And Tomczak throws, and paying the price at the 40-yard line is Neil Anderson, but he does get the first down, and the crowd appreciates it. Nice hand for the #1 draft choice.
And I mentioned earlier that Anderson was a good all-around football player down at the University of Florida. Had 25 receptions as a senior and over 3,200 yards rushing. And that will bring us down to the end of the third quarter, all tied up at 7. Fourth quarter action still to go. John Robinson said, "We want to be close when we go into the fourth quarter." We're tied at 17. We'll return after this message from our local stations.
Close, isn't it?
Looks like the one you had last Monday.
Yeah. Everybody watching their own replays. That was the loudest response to what you would figure was a non-visual replay ever. But enough of those things around. Rams take over at their own 30-yard line. First and 10. Gilman in motion. Dickerson picks up 2. Second down and 8.
Gilman is playing a lot tonight because of an injury to Tony Hunter. He's not played at all tonight because of a stress fracture of his leg. As we look at the third quarter numbers, 31 points put up on the board by both clubs. Bears once again dominating in total yards, but we are tied at 17.
Each team turning it over 3 times. Rams have it at the 32-yard line. Second down 8. Goes into traffic and incomplete, intended for Brown and flicked away by Richardson.
Richardson was seeing touchdown. All he had to do was hold on to it. He could have walked in. And Dills hit him right in the hands.
Can you imagine 2 out of 16 and your team is tied 17-17?
And 91 yards. That's not a bad average for completion.
You're right. Third and 8 from the 32. Dickerson. And he's close to a first down. Fensick came up to make the stop along with Perry. See where they spot it. The crowd doesn't like where they spot it. Just over the 40, but close enough so that Red Cashin says, "Let me take a closer look."
Good effort, Dennis Hara, Doug Smith. Big opening. Eric just about popped that one for big numbers. Pankey also in there from the offside with a good block, number 75. And he does get the first down.
On a 3rd and 8.
We talk about this defensive unit of the Rams. They have a fine offensive line. Watch 75 pulling from over the left side. That's so much for Sean Gale. And it enables Dickerson to accelerate. Gale probably would not have stopped him, but it allowed Dickerson to accelerate and get the first down out over the 40.
Meanwhile, Dickerson has come out for the moment, and it means Charles White comes in along with Redden as splitbacks. That's White 33, and now he becomes the tailback. Dills. Deep for Ellard. Too deep. Richardson covering.
Charlie White, of course, played his collegiate football under John Robinson. Is a great story. Heisman Award winner. The word is on Dickerson, he has cracked the goggles that he wears, and we assume he'll be back in. As a matter of fact, he's coming in right now. Charlie White played 5 years at Cleveland. Released. Johnny Robinson picked him up last year, and when Dickerson was a holdout, he had a couple of good games filling in for Eric.
Dickerson probably called Jabbar to get the spare pair. 2nd and 9. Those glasses are fogged. We've lost by 10.
Richard Dent, Super Bowl MVP. So quick and so strong. Different defensive team. They take a lot of pride in the fact that they are doing something different under their new defensive coordinator, Vince Tobin, who replaced Buddy Ryan. They're more disciplined. And it was Dan Hampton who said we took a lot of pride in being able to do something different. We knew what we could do last year. We did it kind of helter-skelter, but we were playing more disciplined and we were playing it well, and we think we are improving with every game.
On 3rd and 10 from the 40, Gills scrambling, hit, and dropped at the 44-yard line as Sean Gale, the nickelback, came up to make the tackle. And thus the Rams will kick with 11 minutes and 33 seconds to play in the 4th quarter. This is a big game in particular for the Rams, of course, who will lead the NFC West no matter what. But they'll either lead by a half game over San Francisco and Atlanta or a game and a half. As Hatcher gets it off and Barnes fields at the 13. And Chicago will start its next drive from the 18-yard line. 11:07 Vegas-type numbers remaining in the 4th. 17-17 at Soldier Field. 4th period, and the Chicago Bears have the ball at their own 18-yard line. 1st and 10. Again, Peyton back in the dressing room, and thus Sanders carries again and takes it out to the 22-yard line. 2nd and 5. Tim Fox comes up to make the hit.
Sanders has a lot of speed. He really opened up the 3rd quarter of the touchdown run. A couple of them in the first 2 out of the first 3 times he carried the football. He got it into the end zone, but it was earlier in the year, Cincinnati, when he exploded for a long touchdown run of 75 yards. Very quick, and he's very fast when he gets the open field.
2nd and 5. Good protection. Tomczak throwing ball, 43-yard line. Hit by Leroy Irvin. And the acrobatic, balletic one, Willie Gault, makes the catch.
Take a look at Willie Gault now. Leroy Irvin has no choice. He has to play off Gault a little bit. Gault, like Ron Brown of the Rams, has that great speed. And now Gault is being looked at. He appears to be shaken up, but he does come out of the huddle and sprints out to the left side. But you've got to, and particularly when you're man-on-man, as Irvin was, you have got to give them plenty of room, or they'll blow right by you.
20-yard gain. That was Gault's first catch of the night. Sanders ridden down at the 50.
Thomas Sanders took the 50.
Vince Newsom.
Again, that was almost Peyton-like. That is the Peyton sweep right. And Sanders even performed like Peyton, dipped it in to the inside, made it look like he was coming in, and then was able to take it to the outside and get the good yardage.
Texas A&M has turned out a few pretty good backs in recent times, haven't they? Just looking at Sanders out of Texas A&M, Johnny Hector.
He's having a big year for the Jets.
Suey losing 3 thanks to Doss.
Great quarterback numbers. Hills 2 of 17, 91 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Fuller 9 of 19, 102 yards, 2 interceptions. Tomczak 2 of 5, 27 yards.
Peyton is 0 for 1, isn't he? Doesn't matter who's throwing tonight.
And not playing, not even activated, Doug Flutie, who will probably be activated before 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. And Jim Everett, a great one from Purdue, just acquired recently by the Rams. They are watching.
3rd and 6 out of the shotgun, and it's dropped by Tomczak. And then he dumps it over the middle and throws a wobbly short pass incomplete. And it'll be 4th down, and in comes the punting unit. So Tomczak going out. You mentioned Flutie, Frank. Have you ever seen a game with 2 quarterbacks involved that have gotten more publicity who've never played a down of NFL football? I'm talking about Flutie and Everett.
Well, when Jim McMahon starts to talk about something, it gets a lot of publicity. And he did not like the idea of Doug Flutie coming here.
Buford finally gets a nice snap and gets off a fair kick and a fair catch by Johnny Johnson at the 11-yard line. 42-yard punt. Rams at the 11. 8:09 to play, fourth quarter.
'18, of course, is Tomczak. Fuller is number 4, and it adds up to Flutie, and that could well be. I'll tell you what, with the quarterbacking we watched on both sides tonight, it's going to inspire a lot of young quarterbacks around this country, give them new, higher aspirations. I, too, can play this game.
So the Bears defensively now with the Rams at their own 11-yard line. 8:09 to go. Koolman in motion. Fake to Dickerson. Dills going for Ellers. And batted away at the 45-yard line by Mike Richardson. Timing his leap, getting a hand on it, 2nd and 10.
Again, fairly good protection by the offensive line, considering they're blocking the Bears. It gave Dills time to go up on top. He did not even have an optional receiver. If he did, he certainly wasn't looking for him. Richardson had played it absolutely perfectly. He was right there. And bats it away.
Second and 10. Redden out to the 17-yard line. 3rd and 4. John Robinson. It's funny, he's not by nature a real conservative kind of guy. And in fact, if you go back in his coaching past in college, he would put the ball up. Then he got to SC and kept it on the ground. And of course, he's kept it on the ground here. And if you don't know much about his background, as you look at Ditka there, you think that it reflects his personality, but it really doesn't. Chuck Scott is in as a wide receiver to the left, but only as a decoy for Dickerson as he takes it out to the 23. First down.
Good effort by Dickerson over the right side. And you think this game isn't rough down there. Dickerson has got more blowout patches in that jersey than you can count. The amazing thing about Dickerson is I've watched him now for the last 3.5 years is the durability of this man. I talked about that in the case of Walter Payton, but Dickerson probably gets hit every bit as hard or maybe even harder than Payton. And he is always there.
From the 23-yard line, it's Redden taking it for 2. It figures tonight with Eric Dickerson running against the Bears. It's the most yards anybody has picked up against Chicago this season, a total of 92 thus far for the Big E. Mike Rozier in the Houston game had gained 85, and that had been tops. Soldier Field, Chicago, and what's turned out to be not a bad night, all things considered, because it's been just a breeze and not a full wind. 2nd and 9. Dickerson out to the 33, and it appears to be just shy of the first down.
He's getting up close to 100 yards, but he's also carried the ball 26 times. So he has been fairly well contained tonight on a very chilly night here in Chicago.
3rd and 1. Bears over the last 3 years do not give up many 100-yard performances. In fact, this will be only the 4th since '84, counting the '84 season, 2 of them by Dickerson. Keeper,
use your power runner.
And he should have it.
Just needed a little more than a foot. Surge of Doug Smith, the offensive center, and Newberry on the right, and Hare on the at the other guard spot. Probably carried him for the yardage.
They keep the ball right there. They didn't make it. And they didn't. And Robinson, I think, is really upset about the spot. He really is.
I thought he had carried enough, too.
I did, too.
He rode Doug Smith. Let's take a look at it.
now that we look again, I think it was a pretty good spot. Hatcher. Bad kick.
And a bad bounce.
And a good break for Chicago.
Well, as we said at the very beginning, we didn't think it was going to be pretty. Just two rough, tough football teams, particularly defensively, getting it on in Chicago, and they're tied at 17. And there have been some great games played over the many, many years that these teams have met. Think of some of the great players who have performed, not only the ones we're watching tonight, but way back.
Cleveland next Monday. Browns on top with Cincinnati in the AFC Central against the Dolphins, who've won their last two. Tom Zach gives it to the first man through, Thomas, out to the 47-yard line. And the clock now down to 4.5 to play in the fourth.
Tied at 17, and inside 5 minutes, you start to think field goal. Bears have a good field goal kicker. He can reach from way out, Kevin Butler can. They've let him try field goals of 63 and last year and 55 this year. He was not good on either one, but he did have a 60-yarder when he was playing for Georgia against Clemson.
On 2nd and 6 from the 47-yard line. Sanders, nice spin move, and takes it to the 49 of the Rams. And it'll be 3rd down and 2. And as the clock winds down, each team has all of its timeouts remaining.
Sanders running well again.
Interesting here, isn't it? The Bears minus McMahon, minus Fuller at the moment. There's Jim. Fuller started, and he's out. Minus Payton, and trying to drive for the winning points. 3rd and 2. Tom Zach rolling, pressured, dumps it off, and they say he was downed at the 42 in the grasp, and he's down by Meisner, who gets credit for that sack at the 42-yard line.
Great effort on the part of Meisner to get there. They were giving Tom Zach an option. He either would throw the ball or run the ball, and look at Meisner. Spotted the opening, number 69, and was in on Tom Zach before he could do anything with it. He was in the grasp. The whistle had blown, and the Bears bring out the punting unit. Good call he gave Tom Zach. An option. He's a pretty good running quarterback, but it's just a great play by the Rams defense, and specifically Greg Meisner.
Buford kicking in Ellard's direction. Ellard's had a rough night. Catches this one at the 19 and brings it back to the 26. 37-yard punt, 6-yard return. Rams with all of their timeouts. 2:44 to play in the fourth, and they start at their own 27-yard line, 1st and 10. Dickerson tonight is over 100. 101, 26 carries, and 32 times he has gone over the century mark during the regular season.
They have been tough yards.
3 times against the Bears in his illustrious career. 27-yard line, Dickerson. A hard-earned 8. Now to the 35-yard line. And it'll be 2nd and 2.
Well, John Robinson said that his man keeps getting better as the game grows older. O.J. Simpson said that so frequently. You get a great running back, just keep giving it to him, keep giving it to him. He'll get better, and pretty soon he'll pop one. John Robinson believes in that.
2nd and 2. He's behind Redden. Stumbles, but stumbles forward for a first down. Out to the 38-yard line, and that will take us down to the 2-minute warning. It will be 1st and 10 for the Rams when we come back, as L.A. has it at its own 38-yard line. 2 minutes to go Los Angeles 17, Chicago 17.
Sense of humor. Very optimistic, very lively. And we had a great visit with him today. We asked him when we realistically might see Jim Everett, because he was very adamant about not putting him in against the Bears on Monday night, as he put it. And as Al mentioned earlier, he said the Better Business Bureau would complain if he did. But he said he'd like to kind of slide him in when they got in a comfortable position. And one would presume that that would be coming up very shortly.
He'd like to slide that man in, Lansford, for a possible field goal attempt if they get that close. Rams, by the way, leave after the game, but they don't go home. They're going to go to New Orleans. They play the Saints there on Sunday and practice in Louisiana this week.
A lot of trust in your players.
Yes. 2nd and 9. Dills complete at the 48 and a first down into Chicago territory as Dills hits Ron Brown. And that stops the clock. 1:42 remaining now in the 4th.
I liked it. Dickerson came over and congratulated him. Shook Dill's hand.
Thirteen-yard pickup. Ellard to the left. Brown to the right. And Dickerson on a sweep. And he swept out of bounds at the 49-yard line.
Straight out, and that's what they want to do with Dickerson. Fensick was up there from his safety spot. Wilbur Marshall was out there. Dickerson is the most dangerous when he cuts it back against the grain. And by design, the Bears want to try and string that Dickerson sweep out to the sidelines if they can.
2nd and 11. Rams at the 49. Lansford, longest career field goal, 52. Longest this year, 46. On 2nd and 11. Dills escapes Hampton, but not Singletary. And it's 3rd down, and the Rams take another timeout. And it's Dent taking some extra time and getting a lift from Eric. And we thank our guys up here in the booth, George Hill, our statistician, and the mayor of Malibu, our spotter, Kelly Hayes.
Good blocking, plenty of time for Dills. His receivers just did not come open. He pulls it down, tries to get away, gets away from Singletary for a moment, but down he goes back to the original line of scrimmage where it'll be 3rd down and 10. And Jim McMahon looking on, missing his 4th game of this season. And he has missed so many of them over his career, which is now in his 5th year. But when he is in there, it's a different football team.
3 out of 19.
This will be an interesting call. 3rd down, long. Here in against the legendary pass rush of the Chicago Bears. It'll be an interesting call on the part of both clubs. Will the Bears come with a full blitz to try to pressure Dills? Or will even John Robinson let him throw the ball? Will he try to get it out in the flat to Dickerson and let Dickerson make the most of it?
3rd and 10. Goulman can't hang on. Singletary was covering on the play.
But that pass almost knocked Goulman down. One he probably should have caught, even though there wasn't much of a touch to it. Dills hit him, and hit him hard.
So now Hatcher with 1:23, and when the Bears get the ball, they have all of their timeouts.
Didn't put the pressure on Dills. He fired one in there, a little too much on it, but it would have been a first down had Goulman been able to hold it.
Barnes, 14-yard line, risky catch, and a 1-yard run back to the theme. So Chicago with 3 timeouts and 1:14 after that 34-yard kick.
Wild third quarter. Now we worked away almost entirely through the fourth quarter with nothing. No scoring. And the Bears a long way from getting into Kevin Butler field goal range.
First and 10 from the 15. Tomczak firing over the middle and dropped at the 36-yard line. It's incomplete, intended for Reitman, and he was hit by Tim Fox, the 11-year veteran out of Ohio State, jarring it loose.
Tomczak had it in there. He also had good protection. Plenty of time. Steps back into the pocket. Finds Reitman. And Tim Fox, who has been knocking balls loose when he was a Patriot, a San Diego Charger, leveled Reitman, and he coughed it up. Years out of Ohio State. One of the truly tough hitters in this game and has been for a long time.
Second and 10. Sanders thrown out of bounds. And no flag at the 18-yard line. Vince Newsom was the thrower.
Kevin Butler's moon boot. They don't get nervous at all, do they?
Not when they're down at their own 18-yard line.
They live in a different world, kickers. And you can understand it. They sit there and everybody goes out and bangs themselves around. They bleed, they grunt, they groan, they swear at each other. All of a sudden they get into the most vital position of the game and you have to trot out there and do something.
Shotgun on 3rd and 8. That's Gould in motion. And Tomczak with only a 3-man rush and incomplete. And now the Bears will have to kick. And taking a shot that time was Gentry, hit by Vince Newsom.
All the time in the world for Tomczak. The Rams with just the 3 down linemen on the rush. They had the 2 nickel backs in, and they came up with the coverage, and they continue to look at Gentry. He does take quite a pop. And this game is physical. Vince Newsom, and he is physical. And they are continuing to look at Gentry. Punting unit has come on for the Bears.
Now, if you're the Rams, I send everybody. What do you do, Frank?
You send everybody.
Try to block it.
Although they will get relatively good field position. The punting of Buford has been not that spectacular tonight. So they really have an option on. They have the best punt return man in the game for the last 3 years, at least in the National Football Conference. They have him back there, albeit he's only been around for about a week after being a holdout.
Buford standing at his 4. Good snap. Here they come, and they nearly blocked it. And the kick takes a good Chicago bounce and then goes out of bounds at the 35. And Thrift came flying in and nearly blocked the kick. 47 yards.
I think he just overran it. He had great position. Watched right in the middle. It'll be Cliff Thrift, number 52. Another former Charger like Timmy Fox. And all he had to do was go for it. He just ran right by it. He didn't know where to place the hands. I think what he also was trying to avoid was running into the kicker. When you come from the middle, it's very difficult. If you miss the ball, you're going to get that kicker. Thrift was being just a little too cautious on that.
He was also trying to avoid a larynx operation. First down, shotgun, 35. Still sidearms it to Kuhlman. Kuhlman getting out of bounds with a first down at the 48-yard line. The Rams have 1 timeout remaining. And so Gulman, who was unable to hold on to a third down pass the last time the Rams had the ball, catches this one, takes it to the 48.
John Robinson said we want to hold him close into the fourth quarter. He didn't say anything about having it this close at the end.
Flag down. Screen to Dickerson. 45-40, and that would be a first down, but a marker at the line of scrimmage at the 48-yard line.
What a super tackle by Gary Fencer. Open field, Eric Dickerson, and it looks as though it's going to work against the Bears.
Offside, number 95 on the defense. That penalty is declined. First down.
Dent. One timeout remaining. 29 seconds. Ball at the 40. So right now you'd be looking at a 57-yard field goal.
And they don't want to look at it. Avoided the sack. The Bears do not have a sack on the night. They have a lot of hurries, but no sacks.
Dills going deep and incomplete. Ellard was there.
It would have been a tough catch, but Dills had it there. And maybe had Ellard been around working with him, he might have been able to hold on to this. He has great hands, and obviously he has good speed. Working over there against Bestie Jackson, who made his first start tonight. Ball is there right off the fingertips. The tough catch is you look back, directly back over your shoulder, and it is difficult but catchable. I think John thought we're going to pull this one out.
Brown wide left along with Scott. Ellard wide right. Everybody in the pattern. Batted away, incomplete. Third down. Now they've got a little bit of a dilemma here. Third down and 10. They're not within field goal range. They've got one timeout remaining. And they have 18 seconds on the clock.
I think you have to think, let's get 8 or 10, let's get 12, whatever we can get. Use your timeout, bring Lansford on, and see if he can reach. His best, as we mentioned before, 52 yards. He's hit twice from 52 yards. And the Bears are all aware of all those things. They will put the pressure on.
Hansen puts the pressure on. Screen to Dickerson. Dickerson takes the ball to the 33, and they'll take a timeout here. And this will mean a 50-yard field goal. Sean Gale makes the tackle. So 9 seconds left, and here comes Lansford, and they'll spot it down at about the 40. He's kicked this season a 47-yarder for his longest of the year, and then a 52-yarder, the longest of his career.
One thing about when you attempt a long field goal, the trajectory coming off your foot is a little lower than it would be if you were in closer, when you can just naturally get it up much more quickly. And that, combined with the Bears' tremendous rush, the pressure they put on both punters and field goal kickers, this could be very interesting as the crowd is on its feet.
Dills holding. It is long enough and good. With 4 seconds remaining on the clock. And in Soldier Field, where the winds swirl and where kickers have a lot of trouble normally, the flags gently waving in the breeze tonight. And the Rams are on their way to gently waving to a 1.5 game margin over San Francisco and Atlanta.
You see the smoke coming out of that collar? Not a well-played football game by either team, but it's a typical game. They both have superb defenses. And Lansford comes through in the clutch. Dills, the holder, get the head down. Dead, solid, perfect.
What odds do you think you could have gotten on the Rams beating the Super Bowl champion Bears on a night when the quarterback goes 6 out of 25?
Only if you were playing the Rams.
Right. It's been that way, though, all season long for both these teams. Close games for the most part, especially for the Bears of late and all season for the Rams.
Makes you wonder about the Bears, though, Al. 2 weeks ago, they lose to Minnesota 23-7. Same people, except their quarterback, and he has been unavailable, Jim McMahon. This would have been an entirely different game, I feel, had McMahon been able to play. And I think everyone feels the same that follows the Bears. He just changes gears for the Chicago Bears. There he is. His team reacts to just about everything he does. He is their leader. There's no question about that. There's an interesting relationship between Mike Ditka, who admires his talent, and yet there's almost an adversarial thing that exists between the two of them. Interesting football team. And this Ram football team, they're not pretty. They get criticized even at home. They call it their offense, one writer wrote out on the West Coast, is like a Marcel Marceau radio broadcast.
Lansford to kick off. He beat San Francisco earlier this season with 2 seconds left, kicked an 18-yarder, and tonight a couple of field goals, some key plays for the Rams. That Leroy Irvin 22-yard return of a fumble, the 65-yard pass to Ron Brown on the blitz as they read it perfectly, and a little volleyball and rugby type action here as the ball winds up in the hands of Sanders, but he's going to go down, and for the Rams it'll be a little celebrating on a late night trip into New Orleans.
7-2, and they have a game-and-a-half lead over San Francisco and Atlanta. The Bears, they are respectable. They move back to the 7-2 mark. Not pretty, but very effective for Los Angeles.
Al Michaels, Frank Gifford, that's the story from Chicago, where the Rams beat the Bears 20-17, and this ABC Sports exclusive has been brought to you by Nissan, who invites you to test drive the new Go Anywhere Nissan Pathfinder at your Nissan dealer now. By Budweiser, Beechwood Age for that clean, crisp taste. This Bud's for you. By Radio Shack, computer centers in business for business. And by Magnavox, developing new technologies for your entertainment. Nobody puts it together like Magnavox. Here's Lansford. Travel arrangements made through. Promotional fee paid by United Airlines. United flies more people to Hawaii.